All right, number 3. We have this equation here, y equals 4 cosine of 2 theta minus 5 pi over 6 plus 1. And we're asked to find the amplitude, period, phase shift, and vertical shift, and then to sketch the graph. All right, so notice on this one that this shift here is given to us in what appears to be radians, and this graph is set up in radians as well. So we're going to find our period, phase shift, and vertical shift all in radians. Let's start by finding the amplitude. Amplitude is always just going to be this number out here. That's our vertical stretch. We're multiplying by 4. That's going to stretch everything by a factor of 4. So our amplitude is just going to be 4. The period is going to be one full cycle of a typical cosine function, which is 2 pi, divided by this b here. So 2 pi divided by 2 is going to give us a period of just pi. The phase shift is going to be this number here, 5 pi over 6, divided by this 2. So 5 pi over 6 divided by 2 is going to be 5 pi over 12. And remember, this gets shifted the opposite direction of what we would expect. So since we're subtracting here, that's going to shift to the right. All right, and then our vertical shift is just this number out at the end. It's plus, so it's going to be up 1. All right. So let's start with the vertical shift when we go to graph this, because the vertical shift is going to give us our midline. The midline is normally at 0 for a cosine function, so shifting the whole thing up 1 is going to give us a midline right here at y equals 1. All right, the amplitude tells us that we're going to go up 4 from that midline and down 4 from the midline. So up 4 is going to give us a maximum of 5. Down 4 is going to give us a minimum of -3. The period is pi. So wherever we start this, we know that we're going to be back to where we were at the start after pi radians. And then the phase shift is 5 pi over 12 to the right. So instead of starting this, the cosine function starts at the maximum. But instead of starting this at 0, we're going to shift 5 pi over 12 to the right. So 5 pi over 12 is almost pi over 2, because notice that 6 pi over 12 would be the same as 1 pi over 2. And so we're just going to be a hair short of pi over 2. And that's where we're going to start. At our maximum of 5, right here, just shy of pi over 2. And then our period is pi, so we're going to be back up here to this maximum after another pi radians. So it looks like pi is 4 of these lines. So if we count out 1, 2, 3, 4, we're going to be just shy of, this should be pi over, 3 pi over 2. We're going to be just shy of 3 pi over 2 out here. And then we're going to reach our minimum halfway between those 2 points. So the minimum is going to be -3, and we're going to be just shy of pi for that minimum there. And then going back here, we're going to reach a minimum right here just shy of 0 as well. Because we can see that going back pi over 2 is going to get us right here just on the other side of the y-axis here. All right, so now, and also in between the maximum and minimum, we're going to cross the midline. So halfway between here is going to be right here, just shy of pi over 4. And then again, we'll cross it just shy of 3 pi over 4. We'll cross the midline just shy of 5 pi over 4, and again just shy of 7 pi over 4. So it's going to look like this, up to here, down through here, up through here, and down to there. So there's our graph of this function with an amplitude of 4, a period of pi, a phase shift to the right 5 pi over 12, and the whole thing has been shifted up vertically by 1 unit.